Welcome, everybody. This is the first information session for Walnut Knoll. Just want to let everyone know this is not the lottery. We're not choosing anything. This is just an information session only about Walnut Knoll. So thank you so much for everybody coming. And we look forward to telling you all about our project. So I am Heather Calcagney. I'm the Director of Revenue Management and Marketing at Peabody Properties. I've been there for about 7 years. I've been in the industry for almost 20 years, doing a mix of market rate housing and affordable housing. I live locally around here, and I recently moved from Walpole, and I live in Dover now. So I'm local to this community, and I know the area well. And my kids love crumble cookie at Patriots Place. I already got a request to stop there on the way home. Oh, really? Okay. And what's the other one? Munchies. They like that one too. And then Megan Stay-Skull. Good. Yeah. Stay-Skull. Director of Compliance. She's going to go through all the nitty-gritty details of all the affordability and how you qualify, income limits, assets, and all of that. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk to you about the community. Then we're going to talk about what the process looks like to apply and what makes you eligible. And lastly, what's the timeline? So we're going to open up to questions at the end. So I'm sure if you have a question, someone else has the same question. So let's just hold everything to the end, and we are open to answering as many questions as possible. We are going to have Vanessa, who also works for Peabody Properties right here. We'll be taking notes, and then we will have an FAQ after this that we're going to post on the website. So just want to talk to you a little bit about the owners and developers first before we go into what the property is. So Affordable Housing and Services Collaborative is a nonprofit that's developed affordable housing since 2001. So their mission is to provide and preserve affordable housing with services for low-income families, youths, elders, persons with disabilities, as well as special population, including veterans and homeless. So we're lucky enough to have Mike Matos, who's the Executive Director and President of Affordable Housing Collaborative here, been very involved in this project, and he's also here to answer any questions about the construction and the project itself at the end. Also, there is the Onyx Group, which is the second developer for this project. It's a Boston-based Black women-owned, focused, forward-thinking, culturally competent, inclusive development company. Their mission is to build quality housing, preserve culture and community, promote diversity, and inclusion. So those are the two developers. I do really want to spend a moment and thank the Foxborough Housing Authority and the town of Foxborough. The Foxborough Housing Authority has been instrumental in this project being built, and we cannot thank them enough for their support and for the town's support. So previously this land was owned by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and was conveyed to the Foxborough Housing Authority in 2017. So this entire initiative started over 10 years ago by them, and they have been so supportive in getting this approved, so we thank them for their perseverance, and without them we definitely would not be here today. So thank you. If anybody's here from there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Then about Peabody Properties, so that is, we are the management company. So we have been here in business for around 48 years, almost 50 years. We are a family-run and owned and operated management company. We have over 600 employees throughout the Commonwealth, Rhode Island, and some down in Florida. So what we do is anything soup to nuts management. So we are going to be the boots on the ground. You will be working with us through the application process from the very beginning of any questions you have now through the application process, through the interview, and then when you move in, you're going to be working with our facilities folks, which are amazing, the maintenance folks on the ground, as well as the property manager. So we are here with you till the end, and we also have a very robust resident services program, which we're very proud of, that provides programming for the residents throughout the community. So, what you've all been waiting for. about Walnut Knoll. So the community, as you are well aware, I'm sure, is located on Route 140 in Foxborough. There will be 2 phases to start. It's a total of 141 apartments. Phase 1 is 61 apartments and phase 2 is 80. So phase 2 will be finished 3 months after phase 1. All the apartments are 1 bedrooms. They range from 650 to 690 square feet. And the best part, all utilities are included in the rent, which is amazing. The property is a 55 plus or disabled community. So 1 individual within your household must be one of those, 55 or disabled. There are several different layers of income qualifications, 30, 60, 80, that we have at the community. And then there is a local preference. So when we say that, that means there's a local preference when you go into the lottery, and it's for residents of Foxborough, those that work in Foxborough, and those that have children in the Foxborough school system. So there we are. This is the site plan. So this is the finalized site plan. This is building 3, so that was in the future. Building 1 and building 2. So building 1 will have the clubhouse and the community room, those amenities. Building 2 will have the fitness center. Everybody will have access to all amenities throughout the entire property, no matter which building you live in. And the amenities. This property has a very robust amenity package. We call it, it's almost like Disney World. Get ready. You can play pickleball. We have an outdoor patio. We have grilling stations. There will be a fire pit, electric charging stations. There is a state-of-the-art fitness center with weights and the equipment there. We have management, the management office, and a library area, seating area. So there is a community garden and laundry care centers on the 2nd floor of each building. It is pet friendly, and it is a smoke-free community. So there is an abundance of things to do and places to gather for you and your friends when you move in. So this is just a sample layout of what the community space will look like. It is quite large. It has different gathering areas throughout. The management office will be in there. There also will be a resident services office for resident programming, the library, TV rooms, things like that. Here, this is the apartment. This is a sample floor plan of an apartment with the layout. They're all very similar to each other. They all have shaker-style kitchen cabinets, which are the flat front with the wood around the edges. They are a light gray color. The countertops are all quartz, which also have a gray undertone in them. They are oversized walk-in showers. There's plank flooring throughout the entire apartment, so there is no carpet. The closets are oversized. Every apartment comes with a fridge, microwave, dishwasher, oven. Some of the apartments do have patios that you can enter from. Some have balconies, and some have Juliet balconies, which are the small ones that you just open the door and you can't go out on. But it could be Romeo and Juliet there. So that is about the community. That is about Walnut Knoll. I am required to read this disclaimer, so bear with me. And then I'm going to introduce Megan, and she's going to give you the nitty-gritty about how you qualify, how you apply, what the lottery is, and all of that. So Peabody Properties does not discriminate in the selection of applicants on the basis of race, color, national origin, disability, age, ancestry, children, familial status, genetic information, marital status, public assistance, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, veteran, military status, or any other basis prohibited by law. Persons with disabilities are entitled to request a reasonable accommodation in rules, policies, practices, or services, or to request a reasonable modification in the household when such accommodations or modifications may be necessary to afford persons with disabilities an equal opportunity to use and enjoy the housing. Now, this is Megan, and She will be giving you all the fun information. Hi. I apologize for the mask. I know sometimes people rely on lips, but I am getting over a cold and I didn't want to share with everyone. You're welcome. I'm glad to not have to share that. So my name is Megan Stasko. I'm the compliance director for new business, which means I am the one that's kind of coordinating our lease ups and getting all of this information executed. So I'm going to walk through this as slowly as possible. I do talk fast, so if I start speeding up, please let me know. I'll happily slow back down. I'm going to start from where we are today and kind of walk through the timeline. And then I'm going to talk specifically about income limits, rents, and what is income, what is assets, and hopefully at the end answer a lot of your questions that you have maybe right now. And then we're going to open the floor for questions. I'm very happy to answer as many questions as we need to so you feel comfortable. And then we're going to have the Walnut Knoll email available so you can ask more questions and I'll be responding from there as well. All right, so starting. Information sessions are going to be available online after the session. We'll throw up the link for the YouTube. We are going to do a second session. It'll be after the lottery begins, after we start advertising, so other people from other communities can join and hear what the opportunity is. Applications will be available online. You can also pick them up in person, request them to be mailed to you or emailed to you. So online applications will be submitted immediately after completed. So if you go online and fill everything out on the computer, and you click complete, it's going to send it off and that's going to record that you applied. If you wish to request a PDF or paper application, you can email us at Walnut Knoll at Peabody Properties. We have a phone number you can call and just leave a voicemail or speak with someone. The phone number I have there is 857-281-2634. I do believe that should be on the flyer that everybody has as well. And you can mail for an application to Peabody Properties, Walnut Knoll, and our address is 536 Walnut Street in Braintree. Those will come directly to me, and I'll make sure that those applications go out. You can also pick up in person at the Foxborough Town Hall. So we'll have them available in this area to just go in and pick one up, fill it out, and you can send it back. Oops, too far. Some information. So applications will start being available March 3rd. So we still have another month and a few days before they're going to be available. The application period is kind of set. It's 60 days. But we're going to open both buildings' application periods at the same time so that you can apply to both if you wish, or just one or the other. Building 1 will stop accepting applications on May 2nd, and Building 2 will stop accepting applications on June 29th. Again, these are available online at livewalnutknoll.com and pick up at Foxborough. All of the applications will not be available until March 3rd. We're going to have it set up so on March 3rd, you wake up, you open it up, it'll be a link to click or a QR code to snap and be able to go in there. So once you get your application, you're going to want to complete and return the application no later than March 2nd. If you're mailing it in, we're looking for the post code to be stamped on May 2nd. So if it comes to us on May 10th, but it was stamped on May 2nd, we're good? Oh, I'm sorry. March. No. May.
May.
Thank you. I'm going to blame it on the cold. May 2nd. Yeah. So if it's not postmarked by May 2nd, it comes after that, we still will receive and accept the application. But it's going to go on the wait list, first come, first serve, after all of the lottery participants. Building 2 will stop accepting applications on June 29th, postmarked by June 29th. Same deal, if we receive it on July 10th and it says June 29th postmark, it's good to go. It'll be part of the lottery. The lottery will be scheduled within 30 days of these deadlines. So you will be informed of the lotteries in writing, and it'll be scheduled between May 2nd and June 3rd. And then Building 2 will be between June 29th and
July 30th. Applications will be notified in writing, email or mail, and once the lottery has happened, we're going to walk through what that is. Applicants will be contacted based on your preferences, lottery number to begin qualification process within 30 days of the drawing. So looking at the timeline right now, and I do have a visual for that, application period starts March, ends May for building 1, June for building 2. Within 30 days of May 2nd, we'll have the lottery, and within 30 days of the lottery occurring, we'll have our first invitations out to the people at the top of the wait list. When you're filling out the application, make sure you don't leave any blanks. If you're not sure how to answer a question, please call us for guidance. And applications that are incomplete will be not eligible. However, we do send the application back to you so that you can complete it and send it back in so it is eligible. Any lottery application communication will be via letter or email, and if you're deemed ineligible, you will always have an opportunity to appeal. So anytime you get something from us that says you're no longer eligible for this, there is an appeal section that'll tell you how to appeal it. I always encourage you to do that because we don't know what your circumstances are. We're just following rules. And I know there's a dozen different things in everyone's life that could cause a small hiccup. In order to qualify for an apartment, you need to complete the application process. One person in your household must be 55 or older or disabled. Eligibility will be determined after the lottery. That includes credit, criminal, and rental history, total gross income and assets for the household, and student status. I'm going to break that down in just a few minutes. Now we're going to talk about minimum and maximum income limits. This is the question that burns in everyone's minds, and it is not super simple. So I'm going to try and break it down in a way that makes sense for everyone. So all units will have an income window your income will need to fall into in order to qualify. So it'll have a high number and a low number. You need to be between the two. This window, the maximum allowable and the minimum required income, is different for some units than others because we have 4 tiers of programs, 4 tiers of income requirements. The top tier we refer to as 80%, then it's 60%, 50%, and 30%. The percents are the percent of area median income that the limit is based on. So that's stuff we do in the background to figure it all out. We want to make sure you know what the numbers are so that you're aware of that piece of it. The maximum income for one person in 80% is $91,360 based on the area median income. The lowest tier we offer is 30%, and that maximum allowable income is $34,260. The minimum income for all units is based on the rent, not on the income limits, but on the rent. The minimum income, so we talked about maximum, that's dependent on the area median income tier. And now the minimum income is based on the rent amount for each tier. So we're looking for a monthly income of an applicant to be at least 2.5 times this number. So to determine the annual minimum income, we multiply 2.5 times that rent amount and then times 12 for the 12 months. So we have both numbers here on here. I want to kind of point to it real quick. Those are your maximums for 1 and 2 people, and then these are the rent, based on the rents, the minimum incomes. And they're creating these windows. For example, 60% folks living 1 person in a household would be, the highest they could earn would be $68,520, and the lowest they could earn would be $55,080. That's the window we're looking for. Now, because this is based on rent, that minimum income can change if the rents were to change. But that maximum income is based on numbers given to us by the government. We will ask questions at the end. I know this is confusing. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm here for. Mm-hmm. It's my job to help demystify that. So this is the timeline kind of visually. We start accepting applications in March. Application dates our deadlines are going to be early May and late June. The lottery will happen during May and July. Resident selection process, that's when we send invitations to the first people on the wait list saying, hey, you're at the top of the wait list. Come on in, let's see if you're qualified. That'll begin in June for building 1 and July or August if it slips for building 2. Application processing will be done from those first invitations in June and July all the way until the building is completely full. So when I say building completion, that means the building's been built, everything's done, people are in all the units. So we'll be processing applications the whole time. New residents will be able to move in early fall and late fall. We're looking right now at September, like an October 1st move-in date, and possibly November, December for the second one. All dates are subject to change. We unfortunately can't control construction companies and weather, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. We will keep everyone on the wait list informed if there are major delays. So what is the lottery process? This is a random sorting of application numbers will be performed, and it's an online process. So once the application period ends, everybody's going to get a link to a Zoom. You'll be able to click that link and go in and watch. It takes 30 seconds or less. We click a button, and everything's organized in order, and it's randomized. After the lottery, all applicants will then receive an email or mailed letter with your lottery number. Additionally, it will be posted on our website by application number and then lottery number. So when you get your application number, make sure you save that. Post-lottery sort will be conducted to narrow those down into income classification tiers. Those tiers I was talking about, 80, 60, 50, 30. And preferences, so obviously we have a local preference. So the folks that are living, working, or have children in school for Foxborough would be at the top of the wait list, and those who don't would be further down. The lottery number will then determine your final placement on that list. So if you are a 30% Foxborough person with a lottery number of 5, and nobody who is in 1, 2, 3, or 4 is 30%, you would be number 1. It gets complicated. That's what we're here for. We're going to manage this. We're going to make sure that you guys can have as much information as you want. You're not required to be present or participate in the lottery. Everyone who applies will be in the lottery. Everyone who applies will get a lottery number. They'll get an application number. They can go online and see where their number is, and they can call us for any updates. And you will be notified in writing, so everybody will have it. So now we want to get to the really important information here. What is counted as income? So income is received by any source. Employment, unemployment, Social Security, SSI, SSP, veterans benefits, your annuities, your pensions, income from self-employment, and I kind of put a sidebar here, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and other like jobs. Those pay apps where you can go out and earn a few bucks by delivering or running something around, those are considered employment income, and we help you, I promise, figure out how to make that work. Income from a business or a rental property, and then dividends and interest from assets. So any money you receive, whether it's been earned through a job or it's a benefit from a different program, will be counted as your income. Now, when we calculate income, we're always calculating the highest potential. This means if you have a job and you have taxes taken out and you have health insurance taken out, we're looking at the number before taxes and anything else is taken out. So, because we want to make sure that you qualify. All right, I'm going to move on from there. Again, questions at the end, I'm happy to answer them. So what is counted an asset? And I know assets are a hot button issue for the population that we're trying to put into these buildings. It's very hard to live to 55 years and not have a ton of assets. So just an overview, assets are bank accounts, obviously your checking or savings. Those debit cards for EBT or Direct Express, any pay apps. This is a new one. If you use Cash App or Venmo, Apple Cash, PayPal to send and receive money to family members, those are considered assets, and there is a way to get a monthly statement for all of them. Investments, so your stocks, your bonds, your retirement accounts, CDs, anything that you have there. And then, of course, your real estate. Now, having a lot of these assets does not mean, or having high value of these assets will not necessarily disqualify you for the unit. Okay? I know that some people had mentioned before that there is a program where people are being moved out because they have assets greater than $100,000. Okay? I want everyone to kind of take a deep breath on that one. Does not apply to this building and these programs at this time. We're not looking at how much you have. We're looking at what you have. And for us, the important thing is, can you turn it into cash and does it earn income? So what I do want to point out, though, is this doesn't include things that are value and personal to you. So if you have an antique car collection, if you have family heirlooms that are worth tons and tons, if you have jewelry, your great-grandmother's wedding ring or anything like that, that is not an asset because that is something that's personal property. All right, so now you know we're going to do the lottery. We're going to send you an invitation. You have an idea of what income and assets are. So now we're going to talk about the initial interview. So you received your invitation. They said, we have a unit available for you. Please schedule with us. Will be sent out within 14 days of the lottery, starting at the top of each wait list. Once the invitation is received, you either call the phone number or email us at Walnut Knoll to schedule your interview. All household members must come into the interview, bring all of the documentation requests. Document list will be provided with initial information, and again, once the interview is scheduled. We will also be putting the document list on the website, so you can look well ahead of time of what kinds of things you might need to gather. If you are unable to attend your interview, please contact us at least 24 hours in advance of your scheduled interview to reschedule. A no-show, again, we have to work the rules. A no-show is considered an ineligibility. Again, you can always appeal that, and that's an easy appeal. Almost everyone has a reason, but we do have an exception for medical emergency, because obviously if something medically is going on, you don't have time to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm going to miss this meeting. So, but yes, we will absolutely, if you get an eligibility letter at any point because you didn't respond, like, give us a call right away. We'll help you. We'll get you right back in. Interview process. All applicants that are 18 and older will be subject to a background check. This includes criminal history, sex offender registry, rental history, credit history. We're not necessarily looking whether or not you have perfect credit. We're not looking at your entire, last 15 years of criminal history. We're not looking at any of that. What we're looking for is to fit the regulations. So criminal history, we only go back 5 years. Rental history, we want to know if you have any debts owed to any other landlord. Credit history, we just want to make sure that you don't owe, again, landlords and utilities. And even the utilities will be a little bit easy to get around here because all bills are paid. Income and assets will be verified independently and or using the documents provided. So you come in, you have a job, you come in, you have your paycheck stubs for us ready to go, and then we're going to send a verification request to your employer. We'll get both of them, and we're going to see what we're going to calculate based off the best information we get from the two. Once verified, total gross income of the household will be calculated and compared to that window, maximum income and minimum income. If you're determined to be ineligible, you'll receive a written notice via email or mail and given an opportunity to appeal. If for any reason you receive a phone call stating that you're not eligible and it's not followed up with something in writing, make sure you call us back and let us know, because I don't want anyone to get confused on that. Your place is held on the wait list until the appeal process has been completed. So you don't go to the bottom of the wait list if you appeal. The minute you say appeal, we put you right back at the top of the wait list. We go through the appeal process, and we start reprocessing you if it's overturned. Time-sensitive documents. So applicants are required to provide the requested documentation within 5 business days. Failure to do so will result in your removal from the wait list. Some things are going to take longer than 5 days, like your Social Security letters. If you request a Social Security letter, sometimes it takes 10 business days to get it mailed to you. So those, we're just asking you to stay in contact, in touch with us, let us know the date that you sent it off and the date you expect to receive it by. An email or letter will be sent to inform you, of course, if there is a removal, and you'll have the opportunity to appeal. That 5 business days is important because we're looking to make sure people are qualified within 2 to 4 weeks of coming into us. We want to have answers to you as quickly as possible so you can start planning your move if you're approved. How long will this process take? The processing of your file depends on your individual circumstances. So that means if you have 3 different sources of income and they're all just monthly, a pension, an annuity, and Social Security, that's going to be pretty easy to verify. It's going to be quick. And you only have a checking account and a savings account. Okay, that's going to be easy to verify bank statements and a quick verification to the bank. But if you have a lot of different retirement accounts, if you have income coming from several different sources, sometimes it takes longer to get those responses that we need and to get the proper documentation. So I don't want to set anyone up to say, oh yeah, we're going to get this done in a week, and then there's a hiccup on the end of somebody else that we can't control. So once you're approved, a tentative move-in date will be set depending on the construction completion. I do want to state at this point that construction can get pushed. It is something that I've seen at almost every lease-up I've done, and it happens a lot. So if you get approved, let's say you get approved in July for Building 1, and Building 1 is set to be done in September, we're going to have October 1st move-ins. We're getting you all set for an October 1st move-in. And then the construction has a problem and it gets slipped. We will contact you and say, hey, we can't move you in on October 1st. When would you like to move in on or after, let's say October 15th? We keep you informed of this. The other reason I want to make sure I point this out is if we get you approved before construction is completed and construction slips, sometimes your paperwork will expire. When I say expire, it's not like it goes bad and can't be used for anything ever in the world. It means that the certification that we got you approved on needs to have documentation within 120 days prior to that. So if you come in for a July interview and for Building 1, and Building 1 isn't delivered until December, that July interview paperwork will not be good. We try to head that off at the pass, so as soon as we see it happening, we call you back in. It's a shortened version of the interview process all over again. We're just going to gather the documents that are not, that have expired. So if it's like you have 6 bank account statements, 3 of them are expired, we're only going to get 3 from you. So that's something to keep in the back of your minds. It happens, and we try to prevent it as much as possible. We work very closely with Mike and his team to make sure that doesn't happen. And Mike's team is great at making sure construction does stuff. All applicants will be kept updated on that, especially once you're approved. We want to make sure we're in constant communication with you, letting you know this is where construction is, you're still approved. Your paperwork may expire in September. Do you want to come in at the beginning of August? Let's get this taken care of. All of that stuff, we will make sure we're communicating with you as we move through this. Apartment selection. So at interview, applicants are going to be asked about your preferences regarding your apartment assignment. So we assign apartments, and the apartment we assign to you may not be what you want. You're looking for a corner unit on the 3rd floor, and you want to be facing the woods, And I put you in, let's say, a 1st floor unit facing the parking lot, Let us know what those preferences are, because we can change you around and get you where you want to be as best as we can. We do, if there's 6 people that want the same unit, we're going to assign the unit by lottery number. So we can't always honor every single preference. But we want to take that into consideration. Prior to moving in, you'll have an opportunity to tour one of our units. It'll be just a generic, this is what our units generally look like. And then prior to signing your lease, you will be given a tour of your specific unit. And at that point, you still have a chance to say, this isn't what I want. Is there a different unit I can have? I want this instead. And every time the call comes to me, and I do everything I can to honor as many preferences as I can. And it says prior to moving in. No, when you sign your lease, you're required to pay security deposits, not prior. It's at the lease signing. But we do have payment plans available upon request. So security deposit is typically 1 month's rent. I don't know anyone in my life who can say, oh yeah, here's 2 months' rents right up front. So we do try to have payment plans and ways to be flexible so that you still get your unit and you can handle your finances as well. If you're not offered an apartment during lease up, you come in for an interview, we process you, you're not offered, your application file stays on the waiting list. Therefore, we ensure the property always has your current contact information. So let's say you move, into a different apartment complex and you're still on the wait list, let us know right away so that we can get a count of you if your name comes back to the top. So, our favorite part, what questions do you have? I'll start with you.
Yeah, you said that the laundry is on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
Are there elevators?
Yes. Yes. All buildings will have elevators.
Oh, okay, so I don't have to walk up to the second floor.
Correct.
And the stairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, how many floors in each building? 3.
Will
Yeah.
the buildings have generators?
Will the buildings have generators? Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't see anything about parking.
Parking. We have 1-for-1 parking.
Yep, one
So-
parking spot per apartment.
So every apartment will have 1 parking spot.
Any covered?
I don't think we have
No.
any covered. No. What about, I'm sorry?
What about desk?
Do we have visitor parking? I don't,
I have to go back and look whether we have it designated as guest parking, but we'll have parking. Apologies, I'll stand up so I can project. So I believe in the front of the building, we will have parking for staff and for guests. I don't know if we're gonna have, the signage package is something I just don't know off the top of my head. I'll have to get back to you on, but we will have, guest and staff parking, yes.
yes, ma'am.
What type of heat and air?
Forced heat?
What was the question?
What type of heat and air?
It's gonna be, it's fan coiled, so it'd be,
Forced air?
yeah, forced air, yes.
Central?
Yes.
Central.
Yes, central air.
Yeah.
And how many handicapped apartments are available?
Oh, 8 per unit
That's what
per
I thought.
building?
Yeah,
I was
it's
gonna
it's based on a percentage that the state requires. So I believe it is 3%?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3%.
Yeah. And most of the units will be adaptable for modifications.
Correct, they're all yeah.
All adaptable.
Did you say the applications aren't ready yet?
Correct. The application period starts March 3rd. That's when they will be available.
We can get them online on March 3rd.
Yes. Sir?
How many units are built?
It's 61 units in the building 1 and 80 units in building 2. Ma'am?
I assume it's air conditioning.
Yes.
How many apartments on each floor?
Mike, that one's you.
On each floor, testing my memory.
Wait, I know, I'm like, I have the layout. I have it. How many units per floor? So there's 3 floors, 60 units, I can count. I'll get back to you in 1 minute.
It's approximately 20. I mean,
Yeah.
So I could be off 1 or 2 on the floor, especially
Yeah,
on,
that's a good
building-
question. I don't think there is, but Mike, are there garbage?
Yeah, there's 20.
Garbage disposals?
No.
No.
No garbage disposals. There is trash on the first floor of every building. So you will have to bring your trash down to the first floor, and then we will take that out to the toters and you don't have to bring it outside.
Okay. Let's start on this side and just kind of go. Ma'am? Cooking is all electric? All electric? Ma'am?
If you already live in an apartment building where they require like 60-day notice to leave and break your lease, how would that affect what's gonna happen time-wise of going into a
So every building is going to have a deadline to be filled. This is something that we keep track of and we'll make sure we work with you on. When you go in for your interview, if you have to give a 60-day notice or a 30-day notice, please let us know. Because if the construction's not done, we will tell you, okay, construction's almost done, it's time to put in your notice. All right?
You don't wanna be paying 2 rents.
Right, no, we don't want you paying 2 rents. Ma'am, in the back, you had a question.
Will you ever have 2-bedroom apartments?
No, I believe all 3 buildings will have one. All right.
One bedroom.
1 bedroom, all apartments. So, sir,
Is the laundry coin operated?
card operated.
It will be card operated, so there is you can have an app on your phone, or you have a laundry card that you can use and you can put money on.
Sir in the back.
Is there anybody from the Housing Authority at this meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Who?
Yes, we have people here.
Who is?
Right here.
And who are you?
Kevin Fusco, Executive Director of Foxborough Housing.
Okay, have they made this presentation to the Housing Authority Board yet?
Not this specific presentation.
Are they going to do it in the future?
I can request that. I'm here on behalf,
This is just information I'm seeking.
yeah. No, I'm here on behalf of the Housing Authority, but I'm sure they'd be happy to.
How about going before the select board in an info session? Is that on the calendar?
Not on mine, but it might be.
These are just questions.
Yeah.
No, I think so. When we went through our permitting process last year, we made extensive presentations to the community. I know Paige, I saw you over there. Paige was involved on extensively on that with us. And I think where we are in the process now, where we're in the we're trying to finish up construction and trying to get started on the lease up. Now we're outreaching to the community that would be interested in leasing a unit. So it's just
It's been a good
different
presentation, very good. My name is Paul Dumont, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Ma'am in the pink back there.
So, what I can gather here, and it was very confusing, I'm sure there's other people in this room confused. There's a minimum and a maximum annual salary that you have to have to qualify,
Right, you need to fit between the two.
and what are they, so the people that say.
Why don't we go back to that?
Yeah. Let me
So
get
the
back-
question was, is there a minimum and a maximum annual income? Yes, there is, so we'll go back to the slide. That is the most confusing part of all of this, and we get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This information is also on the back of your flyer that you have. The maximum incomes are on
Yeah, it's-
the
Well, it's
left-hand
easier
side.
to kind
I
of
guess that would be right-hand
understand, I
side
guess
looking
you
at
would
it.
say.
Those are the maximum incomes for 1 and 2 people. And then the
Maximum,
minimum incomes are
minimum.
next to the rent
Yeah.
numbers because the rent is what determines that. So,
That's a good question.
Single person, I have to look at least 34,000 a year,
for
one bedroom.
for a 1-bedroom, you have to make 30%. No, for a 30%, there is no minimum income because the 30% units will be income-based. However, the 50, 60, and 80 ones will not be income-based. They're going to be income restricted. That means that the rent is a solid number. It's same for everyone.
It is confusing.
It is confusing. There's 2 different types of programs. A lot of people expect affordable housing to be income-based, where the rent is going to be based on what you bring in. But with these programs that we have for the top 3 tiers, we're not basing the rent on your income. We're basing the rent on what is restricted by the different programs in place.
So what if you don't get a lot of money per month, but you have a lot of assets?
That's an excellent question. I love that question. If you have the assets to support the rent for a year, you can be approved for the apartment.
Does the rent go up?
I can't predict the future. Rents can go up and down based on the program limits. And generally, yes, if our limits go up, we will raise, but it's always done in a percentage way, so that it's not like all of a sudden you're paying, let's see here, $15.30 for your 50% unit, and then next year you're paying $19.20. We do not do that. So, there is generally a, ma'am. So, there
Question
are,
was, is this federal housing or is this through the town?
yes. That is a complicated question, but the simplest answer is most of our programs are state programs, state-funded programs, with a layer of federal funding. But the, a lot of the, a lot of the
Funding sources?
funding sources for the 30% ones are split between state and federal. In the orange.
How many balconies are there?
Question was, how many balconies are there?
So the ones on the lower levels will have like a sliding glass door that you walk out onto. The ones on- I apologize.
You're so quiet.
The ones on the lower level will have a patio that you can walk out onto. We'll have a sliding glass door, right, that you walk onto. The ones on the upper levels, as Heather mentioned, will have like a Juliet balcony where you could open it, but you can't go out on it. So,
So each one will have that,
correct.
okay.
So it's, a choice between, patio on the first level or the Juliet? So
Yeah, it's
Correct.
more of an
where we
aesthetic.
balcony.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. Ma'am, in there.
Are there going to be X amount of apartments that are going to be available for the 30%?
Yes.
So the question was, is there going to be a number of apartments available for the 30% income?
How many?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
They're,
It's less than 20, more than 10. And we'll get a final number, and when we put our FAQs up, answer will be there
yeah,
for sure.
we can get that. too.
Yes, we'll get that for you.
So,
Vanessa's taking notes.
So,
not a whole lot. It's,
Yes.
it's a portion of the property.
What
Ma'am,
kind of security is there, like on the doors? And how do you enter the building if you're
Sure.
a resident?
Yep, so we'll have a coordinated card system to be able to get into the main entry door of each building, but also into your unit.
No, the key.
No,
No.
we're not gonna do the key system. no.
Yeah.
So only, what if you have things delivered? They don't have a card, how do they get in?
We're having a package room in the community room, that's where they'll be delivered.
And they can get in?
Yes.
But I
Correct.
mean, like food, right to your kitchen they come in. You order food online?
Is there an intercom system?
Yes, there will be, yes, there is.
So an intercom system, so if somebody, you have food delivery, you can buzz them in.
Yeah.
Yes.
all right. Ma'am,
Yes.
Is there any storage outside of the two closets that are shown in the sample apartment?
Resident storage on the site? No, not dedicated resident storage, no. In the units is what we've provided as the closet.
And that is a sample, so
Yeah.
they're all not, all of them will be put on the website. That was just a sample to show you.
yeah.
Right, and will that kind of give us, dimensions?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, the website will have the full dimensions of each apartment, each room, and the overall square footage.
will it show a visual or just a blueprint?
It will show a blueprint.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
It's hard to decipher though.
We will and are working on doing a rendering so you can see and kind of feel what it feels like to be in the apartment. Unfortunately, we are unable to show the units until we have the certificate of occupancy from the building department. So what we can do is provide photos and renderings as best as we can, and samples of the materials in which that are going to be in the unit.
And once the units get a little bit more finished, we'll be able to take photos and have them up on the website.
Oh, that would be nice.
So there's a lady in the back there.
Oh, the question was, when do we anticipate being able to see a unit? So anticipated delivery is the September. So once we get the certificate of
So you
occupancy,
wouldn't see anything, there's no model that we could ever look at?
No, not
No.
prior to
Still in
that.
construction.
What
No.
about window coverings?
Oh, yeah.
Window coverings,
Like
shades, we
blind-
will, yes, blinds, we will have some blinds.
yeah,
We do
blinds
have
and-
some questions in the back. I want to make
Yeah.
sure we're getting to these folks.
I can't remember the style of them,
Yeah.
but there will be a window treatment,
Yeah.
yes, for all the windows, yes.
All the way in the back in the royal blue.
Could you elaborate on your pet policy?
Absolutely. Pets will be allowed at max 2 pets per unit. Please remember, companion animals and service animals are not pets. Size restrictions, Heather.
We haven't decided that. What did we say?
I think that's still up for discussion, honestly,
Yep.
it hasn't been finalized yet, because it depends on the, usually it depends on the population, so I think we're gonna look and see what we have at some of our other
Yep.
elder sites and senior sites.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
There will be breed and size restrictions
Yeah.
on there. There also, one thing I forgot to mention, there is a pet park. So if you do have pets, you can go to the pet playground
Yes.
with them.
Yeah. Ma'am in the orange there.
I have a question about residents,
Sure.
as far as the lottery goes.
Uh-huh.
I've lived in a total number of years with joints out here and out there. Were they my total number of years of residency, or the most present amount of?
It is based on most present. I have to review the rules. because
It's not a matter of time.
there, some places, and I don't know if this applies to the cities, some cities do have a
there
ex-resident
for
kind of
amount
piece
of
of that.
time.
I don't think Foxborough does, but it's your address when you apply. So, or, yeah. Sir,
Will current residents of Carland Court or Centennial Court or any of the other Foxborough housing properties have any kind of preference?
no. The only preference we have is the local preference for Foxborough. So,
Will it hurt them at all that they're already in?
no,
Nope.
Okay, so it doesn't affect their lottery?
nope, nope, not at all. Ma'am in the purple.
Can you tell me what PHA stands for, please?
Public Housing Authority. You're welcome. Ma'am,
Are the apartments soundproof? Can you hear everything?
Not soundproof, but one of the things that we're doing is, it's gonna,
Are the apartments soundproof?
yeah. And the answer to that is no, but it's gonna be a very insulated building because we're doing a passive house for energy efficiency. So there's a lot of insulation between the floors and the drywall, it's double drywalled. So it's gonna be very tight.
Airtight.
So it will help to reduce the sound, but it won't be
He's
officially,
in one, you'll hear him in two.
I guess it depends on your neighbor.
Yeah, depends on who you live next to.
yeah, sir. So the question is, if you have a second car, where do you park? And that, unfortunately, because we have a one-for-one on the property, would be something that you would need to decide at the time, because we will not have a second space for that second car.
Yeah.
So,
Salary situation.
ma'am over here.
That'd be like, well, we don't want to get
I
into
don't want to
that.
get into that.
There are a lot of buildings in the state, and you have, what, 3 buildings?
We have 2 buildings right now. The third building is several years down the road.
So who owns further down?
Further down, you mean on the site?
Yes, when you drive by, there are a lot of buildings there.
So, right now, as Megan said, the entire site eventually will have 3 residential buildings in our community building. Right now, what we're building is Building 1 and Building 2. So right now, we're only building 2 buildings. Building 3 is probably a few years out,
Yeah.
beyond that.
So you're the only ones that have any
Yep.
buildings there?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
our-
on that property.
Right, our company, along with Peabody and Onyx, who's the development team, will own the buildings. We lease the land from the housing authority. The housing authority owns the land. And then, as the units become available, we'll be leasing the units to the residents.
In the back there, he's had his hand up.
Yep,
I know, it feels that way, I know, yeah.
all the way in the back there. Correct,
Building 1, 61 units.
yes.
61.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Laundry room location on the floors, and how many?
How many washers and dryers on the second floor? Any apartment flooding that Walnut Center?
I think we have 1 per floor, is that right? 1 room per floor?
No, it's not, they're only on the second floor.
Only a second floor, right, okay.
And there are 4 washers and 4 dryers per building.
Per
Yep.
building. Yeah. I think there was a question in the back there.
Okay,
We have a few more questions here, folks. Correct. So the question is, if you own a home and it takes time to sell it, what are you going to do in the meantime if you get approved for an apartment? So when we qualify you on your assets, we're going to count that house as an asset for you. And we're going to note that you intend to sell it, and we're going to count it at the market value that you have it currently appraised at. The only time that would hurt you is if you are getting income from someone renting that apartment, and that is something that we'll talk about at a time on a case-by-case basis. But having a house, owning a house, if you're intending to sell it, is not a problem when you apply, and it should not be a barrier to you being approved.
It doesn't count as an asset, the cash?
It is an asset, but it's
Right.
not, the cash from assets, like the value of the assets, doesn't determine your income. It's what you can get from them. So if you're getting rent from a house, the rent will be counted as income. But if you're not getting rent from the house, you're in the middle of selling it, you've already emptied it out, it's all prettied up so that it can be shown, then there isn't gonna be, it's just gonna be a house as an asset listing.
So when you get the profit, that's not gonna count against your income?
That's gonna be a lump sum that you
Right.
receive into your bank account.
Right.
And we will look at that at your first year recertification. And there's 3 different ways to handle it depending on how you got the sale. So it gets very nuanced at that point. But it doesn't generally hurt you, it stays as an asset.
How do you handle the timing between,
Well, that's, everybody's different. I mean, come on. Yeah.
No, once you qualify the apartment and we've set the move-in date, that's the move-in date, we are flexible within the time period that we have to fill the units up. Unfortunately, the programs in place have a time limit for us to get everybody into the building for funding purposes. So if you can't move in that window, you can stay on the wait list until someone moves out.
or you could rent the apartment and still own your home?
Correct. You could also rent the
Yep.
apartment, still your own, or you can wait for your name to come up on building 2 and be ready to apply for building 3 a few years down the road.
How many total units in 1 and 2?
Okay.
61 in 1, 80 units in 2,
How many units will be building 3?
59.
59.
Yeah.
Yep, here, ma'am.
Do you people really feel that 4 washers and dryers is enough to 51 or 61 units?
I think what we've typically done is we'll evaluate that based
Yep.
on usage, but that's the starting point.
Yep.
And then we can add or modify over
That
time.
sounds absolutely not feasible. For 61 families.
Okay.
That's crazy.
She had her hand up.
I just answered her.
Okay.
It was about the square footage.
Okay.
Is it tap or, it's town water?
Town water, yeah.
It is town water. Okay.
No matter what the amenity
Correct. Yep. The only thing that will change the price of the unit will be the tier of program you qualify
No,
for.
we already answered hers.
Nothing else will affect your rent,
and that will change
year over year.
year over year.
Right. It could change up and down depending on what the area is doing. So your rent amount, when you move in, will stay the same for the 12 months you're there and will only increase or decrease at the end of that first year. And there's some things. But yeah, and the other thing is that the rent amounts are not based on amenities, what building you're in, or anything else. It is simply the program that you're qualifying for.
I'm gonna get Paige.
What if someone's already on the wait list for one of the housing authority properties? Do they need to still apply?
Yes.
It doesn't transfer.
No, you still have to apply for lottery if you are on another wait list.
Yeah, so the question was, if you are on a wait list for the housing authority, do you need to apply? Our wait list is independent of any other property. So if you would like to apply for our property, you have to apply for both one building or the second building.
Yeah, you are not required to
Yep.
apply for both buildings. If the time frame for you works better on building 2 or building 1, we are intending to have a way where you submit one application and go on both if you choose to do that. All the way in the back.
Yes.
Those assets are counted to say this person has assets, but they're not part of the calculation for the annual income. What we're looking at to qualify is the income. Now, if those assets generate income, we count only what it's generating. So if you get interest and it's like $5 a year, that's what we're adding. We're not adding, a huge chunk to it.
If you have a second car, can you make arrangements with someone who doesn't have a car there?
I like the way you think, but
I like the way you think. That is going to be a property management decision, and generally we do not do that at our other properties.
Is it assigned collection space?
No, it's first come, first serve. Yeah.
Excuse me, are they assigned?
No, first come, first serve. No, there's no
nope,
charge
parking
for
is included. Thank you.
Yeah. Ma'am?
She's had a.
Parking isn't assigned. What about folks who are handicapped?
Yes.
Absolutely,
Those will be
yes.
designated.
Designated handicap.
Yep.
So is there a lease, a one-year lease, and if it is a year, is there a percentage that's locked in on how much it would go up? Or how is that determined?
So, question was, is it a one-year lease, and is there a locked-in percentage that it would go up the next year?
So the answer to that question is, yes, it's a one-year lease to start, and then in the following year, the percentage is determined on the situation at the time. So it's not a locked-in percentage when you move in, it's based on that. I will say traditionally in our properties, I've never seen higher than 10%, and that's very rare as it is. So it's gonna be less than that.
Yep.
So, any other questions? Yes.
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
4 washers, 4 dryers. We can always change that based on everyone's feedback that I just received.
Yeah, it is good to hear your feedback saying that
No.
this doesn't sound like it's going to be enough, because we can go back and look at things and see what
That's
our
why we
plan
have Mike here.
is. Yes.
We're basing it off other properties that we own and Peabody
Yeah.
manages, and we're looking at their utilization and stuff. And so that's where we have that as our starting point. But again, that's something we could always amend and change. So we'll take a look at it.
Yep. All right. I want to thank everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. Again, we will have another info session coming up after the applications come out. So if you have further questions or the application is confusing, we'll happily be giving that information out again. We're going to have an FAQ based on your questions today up on our website by beginning of next week. And then once the YouTube video of this presentation is available, we'll link that to our site as well.